But I was like, no, I'm not going to get high. And then, you know, she was little members, so now she knows it's
Hello, it is Rich. There's Kathryn, excuse me, and Ann behind us. We're trying to figure out. And you just can swipe up and get ready to record.
Okay, we're rolling.
All right.
Yeah.
Then that's fine. We'll just edit out the beginning parts. All right. We'll do it live.
Yeah. So hey, it's Rich, Flybys Media. Donnell is not here. He's in Austin. I think he's doing one himself. And I'm here with Kathryn, Taron, and we are in, where are we? Pigsville, part of Milwaukee or something like that.
Something like that.
Some part of
Milwaukee.
Some neighborhood called Pigsville at some random track. I think that's associated with Marquette. But we're here to do our second flyby. So here we are rolling. And Kathryn, please tell us a little bit about you, and maybe let's start with your service.
Okay. Well, I was in the Army from 2007 to 2012. I was an engineer officer. I served one tour in Iraq, and after that decided it was time for a change.
And before that, you went to West Point, right?
Yes, I did.
Were you
go to West
involved
Point.
in athletics there?
Yes, I ran track and cross country distance all year round.
Okay. So at the end of your service, or what was kind of one of the guiding factors to you determining whether to get out or not?
Well, the other piece of it, I was married to, or I am still married to, a service member, a classmate of mine, and he was picked up to be a foreign area officer, and so just that was one factor, knowing that his career path and mine, being a dual military couple, was just really not possible, which was fine with me because I felt like I had served honorably, but I was a little turned off by some of the stuff I saw in the service. I thought there were ways I could still serve the country or humanity in other facets, in other ways.
But let's get back to your husband. So his name is Zach. He's actually right there. So where did you guys get relocated to?
Well, so we were in Hawaii for 5 years.
Sweet.
That was our first and my last duty station.
Okay.
Then we went to Missouri, Fort Leonard Wood, which is home of the Army Engineer School. So he was a captain. He had to do the career course there, and that was en route to his language training in DC, where he learned Czech.
Yep.
And I was getting tutored in Czech on the side while getting my master's. I started getting my master's in Missouri at
in what?
Education, a master's in education with a focus in TESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages, formerly known as ESL.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. And then we went to DC for a year where he learned Czech, and then we moved to Prague where he got to use the Czech language.
3 months. How did you prepare for what you were going to do? What were some of the factors that played into whether you were going to pursue an education or an occupation when you were getting out?
Well, yeah, a lot of it was timing and knowing that this program that I chose could be hybrid. I could kind of do some of it online, some of it on campus, knowing we were only going to be in Missouri for about 9 months.
Okay.
And knowing that I liked learning languages, I had always been editing papers for people, doing my own writing, and thought, well, this language, English, and knowing we were going to be overseas was going to be a useful job to pursue.
Okay.
And cost, money was a factor. I had a little bit of GI Bill, and I could use in-state tuition in Missouri because of some of the laws for spouses, and just a lot of it, timing, money, desire, and curiosity.
Got it. So you did that. You guys relocated to Prague, and I guess I think you dabbed then. Was that when you first started getting into a little bit of fitness or yoga, or was it before that?
It was a little before that.
Okay.
I'd been doing a lot of yoga in Hawaii, and I...
Just yourself, for yourself?
Just as a student.
Got it.
Yeah, I was going to a local place and really kind of was really into it. I had been injured a lot as a runner, and it really reversed a lot of that. And I found, this is a really nice like activity that's healthy and doesn't destroy my body. It gives me some mental and emotional tools for stress. And anyway, so it was more of a personal, just after work activity that I like to do. When I got to DC, actually, on a whim, I sort of kind of Googled the training programs that were there, and I had a summer between semesters, and I found one in DC that was like a 4-week intensive. And so the typical baseline entry into yoga teaching is a 200-hour training program. So I looked up 200-hour teacher training programs, and now since then, even though that was in 2013, I think, summer of 2013, there's just like an explosion of these training programs. And so you gotta kind of like do your research, do your homework. And
sorry to interrupt, are you able to use, do you know if you're able to use GI Bill for that kind of training?
So that is a good question. There are certain things the school, the course has to do with the VA, I want to say, in order to get certified as like a vocational school.
Got it.
So they have to do that, and yet in order for you to be able to use GI Bill. There's like 1 or 2 in the nation, I think, right now.
Got it.
Hopefully it'll grow, but it is a long process, like, to get that like verification that you're an actual training program.
How flexible did you have to be considering a lot of the relocating you had been doing?
Right. Well, so I knew we had about a year left. When I finished that training, there was about a year left in DC. I hadn't really planned on teaching yoga. It was just a way to kind of learn more about the philosophy.
Got it.
And kind of break down anatomy, and for my personal edification and growth. And then it just sort of happened that through the teacher of my program, she emailed me one day and said, hey, I know these people that are opening up a studio in Alexandria, Virginia, and I was living in Arlington, Virginia. My training was in DC in the district, but it's a small area.
So you're all over.
Yeah, she was basically like, hey, I know these people that are opening a studio, they're looking for teachers, and I thought it was close to you. Do you want to contact them? And I thought, hey, it's like low pressure, I can do it or not. They're new. You know, they'll take anybody, you know. And I really liked the area that it was in, and I went and auditioned and started teaching just 1 night a week, just sort of to keep up my skills as a teacher.
How many students did you have?
It depended on the night.
Students or clients or whatever you want to call them.
Well, in a studio setting like that, and when you're brand new, unless you have a huge budget, like you're a franchise or something, it's hard. It's like you might come in and you're teaching 1 student, and so you're like giving a private lesson at the drop-in rate of a class. But it grows. Like you have to build your following, just like any other company, and you're kind of a micro company within. You know, you're an independent worker. You grow your own following in support of the whole community.
Okay.
So we go anywhere from 1 to 15 people.
Gotcha.
I guess. Yeah, it's a small space.
So then you guys moved to Prague. And then what?
And then, so I was also teaching English and tutoring. And that was supposed to be my main focus. And I thought about kind of running my own company there. And so I put up ads. I was just
in Prague?
In Prague.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have some expat sites that people will look for. People want to learn English and business English.
Where were those sites? Like Facebook or like?
There's one. It's like a Czech centric site. Czech expat.cz or I don't even remember.
So you
Sorry.
can just look. Yeah.
Look it up. There's just forums. It's kind of old-fashioned forums, posting boards.
Okay.
And people will go there. And where else? It just kind of through people that I'd met online, through language exchange programs. And I said, if you know anybody, like, here's my email. And I also had done some tutoring in DC, so I was doing it remotely, like Skype lessons and editing, so emailing documents back and forth before Google Docs was a thing. And so that was really fun. And they were all higher ed, so it was usually graduate students, foreign graduate students, and business people.
Or teaching under your belt, so you were continuing on with education, you were continuing on a little bit with yoga, and then I forget where you got orders next, but
where did we go? Oh, to Monterey, California.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Of course, that's right. I knew that. So you got
I forget
there.
too. But every year we moved, which made it hard.
Then, I mean, so you just left. How do you look at it when you're trying to continue on doing something that you're obviously passionate about, and now you got to kind of grow a base of clientele, so to speak, or opening up your own studio or business? Like, what was the thought process in driving you to do that, or how intimidating was it?
Well, I have to admit, I have really no direction. Because it's short answer, it's demoralizing a little bit. I thought I would be easy to find a job in Monterey. And yoga was just still kind of my fun project. It was like something I did. You'd get a little extra money, like just spending money, fun money, not a lot. But then I was really trying to put all my energy into English, and it just wasn't happening. It was whether it was my lack of networking ability, the fact that I knew we were leaving again made me less committed, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. And there were some other personal things going on with my mother being sick, and so it was just a lot that year. Yeah.
So if English wasn't working out, did that drive you a little bit more to yoga? And
Yeah.
I mean, like, so for yourself, obviously, and to teach, but did you look into your own studio or your own company? I believe that's, is that sort of the direction you
It was
went?
kind of a roundabout way. So yeah, because I didn't found the company. I came on board later.
Yeah.
But it was also, it all kind of ties in. So the studio where I was working in Alexandria reached out to me in Monterey and said, we're doing a teacher training. We're trying to start a teacher training program.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if you're not that busy. And because of my training, my master's in education, I have skills in curriculum design and you know, student learning and development.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks. and so I was remotely designing their manuals and their syllabus and all that sort of stuff. And then they knew that I was moving back. We got orders back to DC.
Okay.
And so then we just sort of reconnect. I'd always maintained the ties with the other teachers, the owner, the managers there.
Yeah.
And so did a lot of, they said, it just kind of kept snowballing to, you're going to design our program, and then, oh, if you're coming back, why don't you just run the program? And then, oh, our manager's leaving, can you do that too? And this other person's leaving, can you do that? So I ended up having like 4 jobs roll into one job.
Wow.
And then the owner, who's now my business partner, said, hey, do you want to just be one of the owners, do this together? He has another business.
There. So that reputation that you built with like some of the people you originally worked with helped you to get to this position, even though you admittedly didn't have a lot of that networking and stuff going on in Monterey maybe, or whatever. So it looks like it was very fortuitous in the end, which is good. So you stuck to like what you were kind of passionate about, and it seemed to work out. So what is the name of the studio, by the way? So
it's called RefreshYogaCenter on King Street in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia, across the river from DC.
And it's you just have one location?
Yes.
Okay. And what are social media platforms are you on?
We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and just the website.
And what would they be? What would the handles be on those?
Oh, okay. So at Refresh Yoga Center. We are at Twitter too. At Refresh Yoga. And just Facebook, you can search Refresh Yoga Center, and we're the only one that should come up.
After everything we've discussed, is there anything you would do looking back that might have made your transition a little bit smoother, or something that you could have done to help prepare yourself, since it's obviously a very intimidating process?
Sure. I wish that I had spent more time networking, and there's a skill to networking as well. And so just learning to throw caution to the wind and join a conversation. It can be really intimidating with a bunch of civilians who have entirely different backgrounds and skill sets than you. Going out to these things, these functions, you never know what's going to happen. Spend maybe less time on your resume fixing commas and capital letters, because people they'll skim it. They're going to look at what school you went to, but maybe. But really, they just want to know if you're a good person and that you work hard. And you try to get that through within the first few minutes of meeting someone without overdoing it, and you will succeed. Meet people you'll never know what's going to happen, who they're going to know, how they're going to connect you. And that's really what happened. It's still, you might have left the military, which is, especially the Army, we call it a people organization. Out there, it's person to person. Yeah. Those interpersonal skills is really what you have to develop, along with being competent in whatever industry you're trying to jump into. And
I think when we had another conversation recently where you're saying you're still in the trenches, you know what I mean? So what do you kind of mean by that? So
I just mean that there's a lot out there that tells veterans that you're awesome and you're great, and that's true. You have a lot to offer. Veterans do have a lot to offer. They've had some unique experiences, but don't forget that the civilians have it tough too. It's almost harder in some ways. they're also traveling, they're away from their families, or they don't have health insurance. And you know, there's just a lot out there. You have a lot more in common than you think. It's just different vocabulary. So learn the language of the civilian world, and you'll be fine.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it. So, Kathryn, thank you so much for everything. This is our second one, so hopefully this is a benefit and a value add for you to just get some perspective. You heard the social media site, so reach out if you have any questions about training or yoga in general, or being a military spouse, or having served and now being a military spouse. Any of those things, we're always willing to help. And obviously, you reach us at Flybys Media on Facebook, on Twitter. It's all Flybys Media on Instagram and LinkedIn. So thank you very much for your time, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.